G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Kate Tompsett from Happy and Glorious, based in beautiful Kent, United Kingdom. Thanks for your time today, Kate.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with how we know each other. So Peter, our podcast producer, reached out and asked if you'd like to come on the cast. So thank you very much.
No trouble. Thank you.
Tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
Okay. My business it's a bricks and mortar shop and an online business selling British made gifts. And in normal times, I would be running craft workshops and craft clubs in the evenings. And I also host art exhibitions on a sort of monthly rolling basis. So local artists bring their stuff in and keep my shop looking nice and fresh.
Yep. No, terrific.
So so it's based in Cranbrook, which is a really nice little market town. It's very traditional and it's full of independent shops. So I'm in really good company. It's a nice place to be.
Yeah, I lived in London for 4 years, so spent a little bit of time in the English countryside. It's just beautiful over there. Went to 5 Glastonbury, so I know Somerset's a little bit better than Kent, but all beautiful.
Gorgeous.
And tell us how you started out.
I set up on my own in 2012. I was 34 years old and I was working full-time in a sort of marketing office job. 2011 hadn't been a particularly easy year. I mean, nothing bad happened, but I just felt a bit stuck and a bit frustrated. I guess that's normal in your early 30s.
Yeah.
And I kind of resolved to do more stuff, take more opportunities, say yes to more things and kind of push my comfort zone a little bit. And so I did some background artist work and I bought an aquarium and I just did a few sort of silly, crazy things, not bungee jumping or anything. I'm not, it's not my thing.
I've done that skydiving and hang gliding, and bungee jumping is by far the hardest thing I've ever done.
I bet.
Consciously decide to jump off a cliff, or a bridge.
No. I think I would just get up there and go, nope, I've changed my mind and go back straight back down again. But then this is a different kind of leap. Yes. So I think it was the 15th of July in 2012. I told my parents that one day I was going to set up a shop selling British made gifts and it was going to be called Happy and Glorious. And they kind of went, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I went home, I set up the social media, I bought the domain name, I booked my first trade show and I inquired about my first supplier because that's kind of how I roll. I'm a bit impetuous and a bit impatient.
Just got into it straight away. Had the idea and that's it. I'm doing it.
That's it. Yeah. Right. No messing.
Great. And do you have some key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of the business over the last 8 years?
Yeah. I mean, the first 3 years I was working full time and I was working on the business evenings, weekends, annual leave. I was doing gift fairs. I was doing gift parties. I was doing pop-up shops. And then for each of those 3 years, I kind of doubled my turnover, but it still wasn't enough to kind of support me at that point. And then in late 2015, I was invited to take a shop for a year in Ashford in Kent, which was a council-run high street regeneration. Mm-hmm. So that was cheap enough that I could quit my proper job. And that was a really good learning curve. And I saw 63% growth year on year, which was great. And then once that year was up, I moved the shop to Cranbrook and saw a 200% increase in turnover, which was harder than it sounds, as it was growing very, very fast. And then since then, it's been 100% in 2018, then in 2019. And then obviously 2020 has been a bit of a challenge. My physical shop was closed for about 4 or 5 months last year, but I'm only down by about 11%. Which I think is amazing.
That is amazing.
All the work I've done. Yeah.
Because I'm assuming a lot of your customers would be tourists from outside of the UK.
Yeah, quite a few. But I also have a lot of local people, and I found that during lockdown, I think it was 53% of all my online sales were local people that love my shop and were just just reaching out and keeping me going, really, which was really nice, really
That's
gratifying.
good. Yeah, I've sit on the board of a few businesses here, and we've all been surprised with how supportive locals have been coming out, supporting all their, domestic businesses within the states, because we've had a lot of state lockdowns here. You couldn't travel around Australia even. So it's been wonderful to see the public come out and support businesses.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a zeitgeist, really. It feels like a real movement, and that the energy has changed because of this. So if anything positive can come out of this horror show,
yes,
hooray.
Yeah, that's right. A lot more buy local in that movement, I think, now, which is great.
Yeah.
And so what kind of split percentage-wise would you say your sales are between online and bricks and mortar?
Online is currently this year around 27%, but that has gone up a lot because it was running at about 9% pre-lockdown.
Yep.
So I'm pleased with that in terms of growth, and I'm hoping that I can maintain that going forward or grow it going forward. Even.
So while the shop was shut for 4 months, so you threw a lot more focus to marketing online, I assume?
I did. It was kind of, I live on my own.
Yep.
I wasn't allowed to go and see my partner. So I thought, right, what am I going to do? How am I going to use this time in the best possible way? And I just threw myself into it. I brought loads of stuff home, and I was working from here, photography and getting new products online that weren't there yet, working on social media and working on email marketing and that kind of thing. So it gave me that opportunity, which was, best of a crappy situation.
Yeah. And so obviously you just started out yourself, not quite one FTE, you went full-time, I guess, in 2012. So what kind of full-time equivalents would there be in the business now?
Well, I spoke to Peter about this before recording, because at the moment there's 3, but I think once we're out of lockdown, I will be able to grow it.
Yep.
And that's a bit of a privilege. That is, not everyone's in that comfortable situation. So at the moment, I'm kind of thinking, who can I get? Where can I slot them in? What do I need help with? So it's pretty positive. So it should be up to 5 by the end of this year, which will be great.
Great. That's terrific growth over 5 years from the initial idea to jumping into it the next day. Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
And when was the moment you felt like you had succeeded?
Do you know, because of the way my brain works, I rarely kind of take time and think, celebrate this triumph and look back and see how far you've come. And I've noticed that so much in so many entrepreneurs. And there's been so many steps to getting where I am today. But my first online sale that wasn't a relative, it's not my auntie. Yeah. That was a real high point. And then I designed my own range of mugs, and I had them made for me in Stoke-on-Trent, and I sold my first set of them, and that was really, really exciting. Someone likes my stuff. It really kind of trashed the imposter syndrome, which was nice. And then obviously getting the keys to that first shop and handing in my notice at my proper job was a real moment of success and also terror. It's like, this is it, this is serious now.
But it's good you stepped into it, didn't take too much risk, built up the business before you tested the bricks and mortar for a year, and then got the confidence to get the shop front full time.
Yeah, it was the right way to do it, but oh my God, I was so impatient.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated. I just wanted to get on with it. But yeah, it was the right way to do it.
And what does success look like to you?
I think kind of being able to support myself, being able to support my employees, taking care of my family, my partner and his kids and everything. And I've got 50 UK-based suppliers all in my shop.
Yep.
And I've kind of built these lovely relationships with them. I feel like even the ones I've never met, that they are my friends, and I'm kind of supporting them. Lots of them are one-person bands, and it's just sort of helping them with their dreams as well. And it's all warm and fuzzy. It's really nice.
It's great. So I was going to ask that. So you source everything you sell is made in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
My dad's a farmer, and when I was a kid, it was very much, you should buy British apples when they're in season and buy British, and I was, this is so tedious. But actually, if we can build it or make it here, why not support that? Why not celebrate that? And it's the same in every country, obviously. There's lots of things we still need to import. I'm all about, the EU and the world and everything. One love. But yeah, it feels silly to not make the most of what we've got in this country.
Yeah, I think because of COVID, there's going to be a lot of countries going back to, we need to be making more of our own stuff here rather than, relying on global trade.
Yeah, definitely.
The number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
Oh, it's probably quite obvious, but it's a strong social media presence, I would say. It's become a bit of a cliche, but people buy from people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think being really honest and being really open with your personal journey. I mean, nothing too banal or, whatever.
Yep.
But just telling people your story. And I think consumers en masse, they can smell bullshit from a mile away. And I think they don't always get as much credit as they should. But I run my own social media accounts, and I think that's really essential. And I'm getting these regular messages and DMs from people just saying, that they like what I do, or wishing me a good nature stomp because I go on a stomp every day, or wishing me get well soon when I had COVID over New Year. So yeah, and I do the occasional happy dance, which people seem to enjoy. So I think it's just creating that really personal relationship with people, even in a digital space. I think that's absolutely vital.
And what platforms do you use on social? Clearly Instagram and Facebook?
Instagram and Facebook are probably my best ones, and I do use Twitter as well. So yeah, but Facebook is great for local in particular. That's the Cranbrook place. And then Instagram is just such a lovely, supportive space and so beautiful. So yeah, I use both of them.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for your type of business, I think, Instagram. Very photogenic kind of products.
Yeah, it's a very visual place. Yeah, definitely.
And how did you fund your business?
I spent several years before I set up the business saving for a deposit on a flat. So I was like, aim for 10 grand, you're going to get there. I thought, that's 10% of a flat, I can do this. And I did it. I was paying rent, I was paying my bills, I was doing it all by myself, and I saved up this 10 grand and I was really excited. So I went to the bank and said, please, may I have a mortgage? And they said, well, no, you can't afford that.
No.
But a mortgage would be less than my rent.
Yes.
And I've paid the rent and saved up this money. So when they wouldn't give me a mortgage, I very petulantly went, right.
I'm going to start a business.
I'm going to spend it on something else then. I'm going to spend the whole lot and invest in myself and invest in growth and, and do it for myself.
Right. So in the end, no bank finance for the business then? It's just all from your own savings and profits?
Yeah. I mean, I have an overdraft because retail, you have to. But no, it's all self-funded, which is
that's great. Well done.
Nice.
And if you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
I would. I absolutely would. I worked in retail when I was doing my A-levels and when I was doing my degree. And when the time kind of came to decide what to do next, I thought, this is what I want to do. I mean, it was unrelated to my degree, which was media communication studies, but I just love retail. And people were saying, oh, you can't be a shop girl all your life. And I was like, I damn well can.
Prove them wrong.
There's a real magic to retail that isn't really widely talked about. But when you really get into it, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of theatre, and it really appeals to my slightly hyperactive brain.
Yeah, great. And can you outline the most stressful point in your small business journey so our audience can learn from it?
I think there's been a lot of stressful points, but it has to be, I'm sure everyone's saying this to you, Troy, February, March last year.
Yeah.
You could see COVID was on the horizon and it was getting closer to the UK. I think we had a few cases at that point, and I was very anxious, not only about what could happen with the disease, but what would happen to my business when I had to close for a couple of weeks, which was actually very optimistic, as it turned out, to just close for 2 weeks. But I was actually quite proud of how I dealt with the situation, bearing in mind that at this point the government hadn't said anything about financial support, about furlough, about anything like that. So I took some time to plan every possible lockdown scenario. I wrote this process chart. What will happen if this happens? What will happen if that happens? And I decided to, as I said, really focus on the website and put all my energy into that. grow my social following and work on email marketing. Because running a shop day to day is great, but it just takes up so much energy and thought and time. So the website kind of ticked away in the background, but then I was able to just give it the energy that it deserved. And and March to June saw a 300% increase in website sales, which was mind blowing. Some days I was just packing orders constantly all day. Which was incredible, and writing these notes to people, sending presents directly to loved ones. It was quite an emotional thing, sending these really heartfelt messages to people that couldn't see them. And it was really lovely. So yeah, I kind of calmed that anxiety by focusing on what I could control, and I had to just let everything else go. But yeah, that was stressful, but I'm still here.
I read a report from the Direct Marketing Association, I think it was in the US, and they're saying that for every dollar you put into email marketing, you get $44 back, whereas you get $22 back for SEO and $20 or $18, I think, for social media marketing. So do you do much email marketing? Like, how often would you send something out, and like, what does that look like? Promotions, or just really putting your products out there to your email list?
It's not been promotions. I used to do one sort of once a month, thinking I don't want to bother people, I don't want to be spammy, where do you draw the line? But in lockdown it was just every other week, and I was saying either here's some new stuff, or here's something I saw on a walk. I've had a discount code, just 10%, just running throughout lockdown, just as a kind of gesture, which has really, really helped. But yeah, I'm just kind of telling my story as much as ever, and just hoping people are okay. And I'm getting responses, which is really lovely. I'm getting messages saying, thanks for not just asking for a review.
Yeah.
And I'm having these conversations with customers from my email marketing, which feels amazing, that I'm reaching out to. I think I've got a couple of thousand subscribers, and they're all wanting a chat. It's lovely.
Yeah. And did you find many people, when you up the frequency to every 2 a month, did many people unsubscribe?
I get a few unsubscribes every so often, but I just try to think, if they're not interested, that's okay. I don't want them on my list if they're not interested. Yeah. I'm trying to be very zen about it, and not kind of, what have I done? I've upset them.
That's right. You can't please everyone. What email platform do you use?
MailChimp.
Yeah, great.
It's just really intuitive, and it's really quick and easy, and schedulable and everything. So I like it. It's really good. But I've got a lot more sales, so hooray.
That's great. Really good. And what area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
It's got to be the website, I think. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, for the early days, when I set up in 2012, it was very much the target is get a shop. That's the dream. So that's what I was aiming for. And once I reached that point, it was kind of just very easy to get caught up in that daily shop life.
Yep.
But yeah, I really need to keep on that. And that's probably where the team's going to grow next.
Yep.
Is kind of making sure that's ticking over, and then probably someone to help in the shop as well, and just spread it both ways rather than just focusing on one thing.
Yeah, great.
Definitely.
And what have you enjoyed the least about managing the fast growth?
I think it's that point when you are almost ready to take someone on. So the entire it's a small team, but the team are very stretched. That while you're trying to work out where best to kind of place somebody.
Yep. And
it's really hard to hand over the aspects of the business that you really love.
Yes. Yeah.
So for me, it's always been about that face-to-face. I love chatting. I love hearing people's stories and getting to know people. But I am aware that for the business to grow further, I'm going to have to spend less time in the shop and kind of, work on more designing and work on growing the business, and rather than, it's on your business, not in your business, isn't it?
That's it.
So I'm aware that I'm going to have to step away, and that's really weird.
And what do you love most about growing a small business?
I would say I love that every day is different in retail. I love that you never know what's going to happen. I've got lots of nervous energy and I'm quite easily bored. I love planning. I absolutely love planning. And I also love that plans don't always go to plan.
Yep.
I love the fluidity of it. And it just kind of keeps you guessing, really. And every sale of something that I've designed or curated, it still gives me a buzz 8 years later. And I think I'll keep doing this until that buzz goes. Yep. I don't think it will.
It doesn't sound like it. And what's been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
This is really melodramatic, but I like myself. It might just be an age thing. Now I'm in my 40s as well. But I found that when I worked for other people, I would go to them really, really overexcited and say, I've got this idea for strategy, or I've got this idea for marketing, and I feel really inspired and really excited, only to just get quashed by red tape or someone saying, oh, well, maybe, and oh, I don't know, or we'll try it, but not try it fully. But running my own business and kind of being answerable only to myself, it just gives me so much confidence, and I'm willing to take risks. And if it doesn't work out, I'm not ashamed. So yeah, I think it is just that complete shift of mindset, saying, actually, do you know what? I know what I'm doing and I'm good at this.
Yep.
I feel brilliant. It's great.
It is great. No, it's really good when you find your passion and you've got a talent for it, and there's a market obviously for it as well. The Venn diagram I can talk to people about when they're looking at either starting a business or changing careers. I say, find the circle that you've got a passion in, another circle with talent, and obviously if there's money or a market there, and in the middle, that's the sweet spot. Yeah.
Definitely.
What's the number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
I would say planning and more planning. Because you can't create a proper strategy unless you know where you're heading, any more than you can kind of program a sat nav without knowing the destination. So I'm not a particularly organized person by nature, but I found, have you heard of bullet journaling?
No.
It's this lovely, well, the guy who started it created this very sort of simple, very structured way of planning. It's very analog. And people have kind of hacked it and made it very colorful and lively. And there's doodles and crazy lettering and that kind of thing. So it appeals to my brain. It appeals to my sense of my love of color and my love of lists and things like that. And it just helps me strategize. Everything goes into, I've got it right here.
Wow. Yep.
Everything goes into it. It's really colorful. It's really vibrant. And yeah, there's so many systems, so many apps and stuff out there to appeal to every kind of mindset. So I think once you find that way to plan, you'll be absolutely flying.
Have you heard of the 7 Ps?
I have not. Tell me.
Prior preparation and planning prevents piss poor performance.
Perfect. Exactly.
It's great. Yeah. Do you love talking small business growth with other owners? We have a vibrant online community from many industries around the world. Plus, we regularly add new tools and resources for community members and host 2 webinars a month to help you grow your small business. growsmallbusiness.com. And can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
I am quite a big believer so far in finding the right person and then working out how to slot them in, working out what their strengths are. So it has been like a customer that I think, I really love that person. I want to hang out with that person. Do they want a job? And how will they fit in? So, so someone that really cares about the business and someone that is just as excited as I would be about a really lively day.
Yep.
I work almost entirely on instinct. I don't know whether that's right, but so far I've been really, really blessed.
That's good. I mean, I always say hire for attitude and aptitude. So if someone's got the same attitude to what you're doing, what your business is doing, and they're really passionate, you're 80% there. Because you don't want someone in there that's just really doing it for a job.
No, absolutely.
That's what you're doing and not aligned with your vision and your passion. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some things you'd recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
I would say it's probably quite obvious, but I think kindness is the most important thing. I think making sure that people feel appreciated and feel heard. Richard Branson, I don't agree with all of his business practices. I like to pay my tax. Sorry, that's a bit controversial. But he said that taking care of your team is the most important thing, because if they feel happy, if they feel confident and comfortable and supported, then they're only going to pass those good vibes on
to the customers. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. And tell our audience how you've handled balance.
It's a really tricky one, because I don't know if there is a classic work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have kids, so that helps. But with a 9-to-5 job in an ideal world, you go home and you take some time kind of not thinking about it. But when you set up a business that you love, it kind of becomes part of your life, and working on it is a joyful thing. So it's kind of, is it my work? I don't know. It doesn't, it kind of doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love what I do. And I've always had that challenge of not just switching off, but not working all the time. So in the last 5 or 10 years, I've had to put structures in place and things to, like, I've got a chocolate Labrador that I take bushwalking, for example. Obviously, my daughter came along 7.5 years ago. That certainly changed things and perspective and that big question of balance. So, yeah, but it's really hard when you love what you do.
Yeah, and when you set up at home as well, you kind of start to associate that with work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, I should be working. I am in my workspace.
Yep.
So, yeah, I do find that going to see my partner and kind of staying for a couple of nights or something like that, it's that sort of cut-off point, and it quietens my mind, and I can kind of regroup, which is really important.
And how much?
But yeah, mostly it's...
Sorry, go.
Sorry?
You go again. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's... I don't know what I was going to say.
Being able to cut off when you're away from home.
Yeah, it's just most of the time it's, what can I do? I can't wait to get on with the next thing. So yeah, joyful thing.
And how much professional development have you invested in yourself over the years?
I've got a couple of coaches. Yep. I've got one that deals with just life, and one that specializes in retail. So that's really helpful. I used to deal with a lot of, I used to read a lot of business books, but I can only do that on train journeys and stuff like that. If it's before bed, I'm like, I just want to get on with stuff now.
Yeah.
And then I've always done webinars and any free training there's been at trade shows and things like that. They're a big part of my life. And I've been in retail now for 27 years, I think, and I still don't know everything. So I think it's really important to stay humble and keep learning.
And what about any other mentors or coaches? You've just mentioned a couple there, but along the way, have you had any other mentors or coaches?
Not really. I mean, when I worked in retail, when I was sort of in my late teens, early 20s, I had a boss that I really got on with, and she was very willing to hand stuff over to me. So I would be doing displays and doing windows. She'd taken me on as a Saturday girl, but she did sort of start handing over quite a bit of stuff to me. So that was really, really helpful. And then I'm just really lucky to have a massively supportive family and friends and partner. And I've got a cheerleading team behind me going, Go Kate.
And do you have a board of directors or advisors?
I don't. No, it's kind of just me.
Yep. All right, Kate, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
Oh, the hardest thing. I think probably the pace at which everything changes, particularly at the moment. I mean, when I first started out, you have the website, you have Facebook, and that's kind of it. But there's lots of new social media coming along and new website features, and you kind of just need to keep on top of it. The advantage of being a small business is that I can do that. But working out which paths to follow and which are dead ends is a bit of a challenge when you're kind of doing all the other stuff as well, I would say.
Yeah. And favourite business book, which has helped you the most?
Sorry, I put it here. Small Giants.
Oh,
it's
great.
About, kind of being a great business rather than being a big business, because I kind of want to keep that personal side. I want it to be my baby, but at the same time, I want it to grow and develop and support more employees and everything. So no, it's a really good one.
Yeah, I've had a few business owners on that have gone big, had 20, 30, 50 staff, and then decided, actually, I just want to have something small and manageable, and they've gone back down to, say, five to eight team members.
Yeah.
So they really just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Any podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
Holly Tucker's Conversations of Inspiration. She set up Not on the High Street. And so she's just interviewing lots of small and medium business owners, which is really great. Then Mary Porter's Kindness Economy is lovely. She's like just the queen of shops and goddess of everything. And Shopify, who I'm with my website, they're doing a resilient retail one, which is all about businesses in lockdown and adaptation. And yeah, it's been really good, really inspiring.
Oh, great. I had someone on earlier, Ben from Perth in Western Australia. He's got a podcast called Shopify Dropify. You might want to check that one out. He interviews people that have Shopify shops. Obviously, that's what they focus on, but that might be another good one for you to check out.
That sounds great. Thank you. And yours, obviously. Yours is great.
Thank you. One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
It would be finding a planning system or tool that works for you, be it digital or analog or whatever. It's finding that thing that works with your mindset, I would say, and also a really robust kettle.
Yep. I love hearing this story. When I was living in the UK, apparently there's a person's job at the electricity company over there to watch the end of Coronation Street, because it doesn't always end at the same time, sorry. And so they have to see when the credits are about to roll, and they switch on a dam because everyone goes into the kitchen, puts their kettle on at the end of Coronation Street and just drains all the electricity from the grid. Yeah.
Amazing.
Finally, my favourite question. What would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
Oh, what would I tell younger Kate? I would say don't listen to the voices inside and out that are kind of telling you can't do it, or that you're moving too fast, or that you're too ambitious, because the external voices are warning you through love or worry, or placing their own fears and anxieties upon you, and the ones inside your head are going to quieten in time anyway. So fluff up and try things out and trust your gut, take risks and take responsibility, celebrate, take a step back and see how far you've come, and be patient, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's like growing a tree. You've got to nurture it and look after it, protect it until it's tall enough to look after you. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thanks for your time today, Kate. I think the audience got a shit ton of value out of your journey, and congratulations on the last 8 years and going up to soon 5 FTE and opening, a bricks and mortar shop and the online sales, particularly over COVID. That's been amazing growth. So well done.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please leave a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. It means more small business owners will find our cast and help people with their business growth journey.